As introduced, my name is Geok Ko. I go by Ko just because it's so much easier. Where I come from, Geok is pretty common, but not so much in the US. I'm very excited to see so many talented. Oh, here you go. Hi. It's really inspiring to see so many happy, cheerful, energetic faces on a Saturday morning. So I'm very excited to share a little bit of story from my experience, not just on the Olympic and Paralympic side, but also maybe just for a little bit of context, how I get to where I am. And you can ask me any questions you want after this as well. So, as I said, my name is Ko. Um, just as a quick introduction, I come from Malaysia at the age of 18 to study at Northwestern University, not too far from where you guys are, and got my double degrees in material science and econ. And then post graduation, as shared, I spent about 10 years at AT Kearney Consulting. Along the way, got my MBA, spent a little time at Amazon working to expand their Amazon Prime program, which I'm sure you've heard of. Did my own startup in the travel industry. And then through that, I got noticed by Airbnb and joined the company for a few years. And now I'm back at the drawing board to work on my own startup in the realm of making mentorship, making career life coaching more accessible to everyone. So today, what I'm going to do, because of a small amount of time allocated, I'm going to share two quick stories that kind of tie to lessons that you might find potentially helpful as you navigate through middle school, high school, college, and beyond. These are pretty much lessons that I wish someone had told me when I was your age. Um, so for lesson number one, I think it might be helpful to get back to a little bit of context of where I come from. So in my background, I came from a pretty poor family back in Malaysia. However, from a pretty young age, my family and I know that education is kind of like the way out of the cycle of poverty and the cycle of social and economic disparity that we face for generations, right? So they truly encouraged me to pursue whatever I like, whether it's STEM, arts and sciences, etc. So I was really lucky from a young age to have that support and cheerleading. So when I was 17, um, through hard work and also a little bit of luck, I passed the national exam with flying colors, got awarded by the country's most coveted full scholarship to study in the USA. Right up until then, I've never taken any flights. So I was over the moon to fly halfway around the earth to come to the land of the American dreams, right? There's only one small problem. I need to get an admission to one of the top universities in the US. So I spent pretty much the next year polishing my English, getting advanced placement exams through, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of when I got into Northwestern University. And while I was at university, I was signed up to study chemistry, but I wasn't very interested in it, right? I mean, as a young kid with no internet, I don't know anything else. So while I was in my freshman year at Northwestern, I started taking a lot of random classes and I came across material science and I absolutely love it. It's a great mixture of chemistry, biology, math, physics, etc., etc. And since then, um, I decided to poke around to see if there's a way I could potentially get a degree in material science, not an engineering degree, but through the the School of Arts and Sciences. And in talking to a lot of professors, incidentally, they were actually starting a Bachelor of Arts in Material Science. So I was lucky enough to get through to that. And I was the first ever and only person to graduate from Northwestern University with a Bachelor of Arts for that year. Since then, there have been hundreds of people that follow through and got their own degree in material science from Northwestern University. So long story short, for me, lesson number one is never really to let any precedents stop you from trailblazing new path. In life, many things seems set in stone. But if you kind of like poke around and get creative, there's always a way to accomplish what you want. So that's lesson number one. Very quickly, lesson number two might be relevant to why you are sitting here today is math and science really provide you with a foundational methodology, a sort of a framework on how to think about an issue and problem solve. As shared, post-graduation, I wasn't very sure I wanted to pursue a purely STEM-based career. I was more inclined to explore and see the world. So I decided to join a consulting firm. And through that, I spent about almost 10 years in consulting. And through that journey, I had the opportunity to work in over 20 countries from all sorts of projects, ranging from market assessment for Tesla. This is way before EV was a thing. And Elon Musk at that time was facing bankruptcy left and right. So I had the opportunity to do that. It was extremely cool. I had the opportunity to develop strategies in Asia to bring the largest cruise ship to China and beyond. And all of these is just such exciting work that you don't quite get to find anywhere else. So looking back, truly, many of the problems that I encountered as a consultant were truly unique and require a good blend of art and science craftiness to solve. So my STEM training through high school, through college, were really, really helpful in offering sort of a great framework and eventually a basis for all this way of a methodology for this thinking. Sorry, I'm super pregnant, so I'm out of breath quite a bit. And I can also provide you with a very specific recent example, as alluded to earlier. So at Airbnb, my team and I were pursuing at that time a very secretive partnership with the International Olympic Committee. We have to make a very strong business case that having this official partnership is great for the company in order to get that partnership approved. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. So the finance director of Airbnb was in charge of building the financial model and pretty much painted a very poor picture and business case for the partnership, right? So for me, having certain training and background in kind of reviewing financial models and stuff, I wasn't satisfied. So I pretty much rolled up my sleeve and began delving into his model. I perused his assumption and calculations and challenged some of the assumptions that he made. And we managed to change the model considering a few more dimensions beyond just purely, Knight's book, etc. And ultimately, we managed to make a very strong case for the partnership to the board, and based on the benefits that we can tease out for our host and guest communities, for environmental sustainability purposes, and for the economic empowerment opportunities for athletes, not just in the US, but worldwide. Those were enough to kind of win the board over, and we signed a milestone 10-year partnership with the International Olympic Committee, and we were only one of maybe a dozen companies in the world that was able to do so. So far, I was ecstatic to see how this partnership has provided sort of our stated mission of empowering the athletes, our host communities, and beyond. And I truly get to see all the benefits that are being reaped by our hosts, even as we continue to go through this major sports event in a pandemic. As a side benefit, I was one of the few international representatives who were allowed to be in Tokyo last year for the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. I got to watch the opening ceremonies. I got to watch our top American athletes compete in swimming, gymnastics, athletics, diving, and the introduction of new sports like skateboarding, wall climbing, etc. So, in closing, these lessons hopefully are helpful for you as you continue thinking through and navigating your journey through school. Um, I truly believe that women needs to take up more space, because in general, my experience is there are many stories that we believe about ourselves, um, that aren't true because that's something that society told us and they don't actually serve us. And so it's up to you guys to start rewriting them. Um, and confidence do come with hard work. So if you don't believe that you're good at something, just keep at it, and one day you'll get there. I'm a few minutes past my time, but I wonder if anyone has any questions.
Yeah, thank you. Audience, do you guys have any questions? Okay, so I have a question for you. So I know a lot of us are in high school right now, so do you have any advice for us? Like, what did you do in high school that you think help you become who you are today? So is there any advice you have for us?
Yeah, I was actually a pretty active kid back when I was in high school. I did a lot of sports, any type of sports you can think of, like running, hurdles, long jump, you know, uh, netball, which you might not have heard of, hockey, etc. So I think sports actually help you orient your mindset into either being an individual performer when I was running for 100 meters or 200 or 400 meters, or a teamwork. So if I'm in a hockey team, I think differently. It's more about teamwork, and it doesn't matter who scored the goal. Like for example, as long as you work as a team and your team is able to perform well. So that's one. The second one is art. Um, I can't tell you how many times me and my siblings participated in all sorts of art competitions. Pretty much a few times every month, and the art competition is amazing because it helps you think differently. It gives you constraints from the perspective of time and topics, and it helps you be extremely creative as much as you can within that limited amount of time, which is in a way a mimicry of like what will happen if you're on a project, right? You have a limited resource, you have limited time, and you need to perform within that. So those two above and beyond, making sure that academically we're performing well, I think were helpful. I also think that being part of a debate team actually helped me. Honestly, I didn't really speak much English when I was growing up. So for some reason, I landed on a debate team. I don't speak English well. I have no confidence. My only trick, when I was participating in all this competition, was we got our topics about a week before the debate, and I would write out both sides of the debate beforehand and memorize pages of them. And then on the day of the competition, just went up there and speak as if I know what I was talking about. So sometimes you do have to continue working hard on certain things and continue practicing in order to build that confidence. So I think an amalgamation of all those different activities truly help. There's no one silver bullet.
Yeah, thank you for your detailed explanation. We really appreciate your time, and all your stories were very motivating, and your stories were very high achieving, especially, you working with the Olympics, and you have inspired all of us. Thank you so much, Ko.
Thank you. Thank you all. Bye.